Hi everyone, welcome to our Tuesday Talk series in collaboration with Gay Moore. I'm not going to introduce myself. I think you all know who I am now at this stage, and you're probably getting bored of me introducing myself. So I'm going to jump straight in and dive in and introduce or get Paul Dunphy here to speak and tell us a bit more about ourselves. Paul, I'm thrilled to have you here with us today. Perhaps you can introduce yourself in more detail and give us a bit of insight into who you are and what you do.
Hi, absolutely, Pauline. Delighted to be part of these events. I think they're super. So I'm Paul Dunphy Esquire. That's the brand name and the name, which kind of started as a bit of fun a few years ago back on Twitter, and it just stuck as a kind of a nickname, and then it became my kind of brand. And as you know, everything's about standing out when you work online and being a little bit different, and your USP and all the rest. So there's lots of Paul Dunphy. So Paul Dunphy Esquire stands out. And every time I meet, maybe a well-known person or a celebrity or any business people, they always comment on the Esquire. So it's always a great introduction chat type of way of getting going with people as well, And basically just any man that believes in gentleman values can become an Esquire. It's as simple as that, so I do suppose to those ideas. So Paul Dunphy Esquire, I'm a social media consultant and curator. And again, I say curator rather than manager because managers are two a penny everywhere. And just by saying you're a curator, it stands out a little. And I like the sound and I like what a curator is. It kind of watches and minds and runs things for you. And what I do is I do all those things for your social media channels. So people usually come to me for a few different reasons, so the first reason they would come to me is when they need help with their social media channels, and it could be just Twitter, or it could be just Facebook, or it could be all of them, and they either want me to explain it more for them in detail, and then I would do a consultation with them, or I actually run accounts for them, because I found over the years there's an awful lot of people that they've tried out Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn, and it hasn't worked for them for whatever reason, and they just kind of push it aside thinking, oh, that didn't work for me. But usually when you investigate as to what did they do, it becomes very clear why it didn't work. And then for some people just don't have the personality for online, but they do in face-to-face in business. So there's so many reasons why businesses hire me to run their accounts, and I run them for short or long term, and then I do the consultations. So that's kind of a snapshot, just what I do.
Brilliant. And you're definitely, as I said, as we were just briefly speaking before we came on here, Twitter is definitely one of your things, because I've been observing some of your Twitter stuff, and you're certainly prevalent there, and you're certainly working your magic. And just listening to you there, the Esquire thing is brilliant. So I commend you on that. It's really different and it's really unique. And as you spoke about there, I think just in our businesses, we can find it so hard at times to find our USPs, can't we? And that's a real challenge that all of us face, I think, in business, and myself included. And I think a big part of that sometimes is reconnecting with our why, so that we can use our voice to speak, as I always say, to the people that we want to work with and that we want to connect with. Do you have any insights around what your why is in your business, as to, why you do what you love effectively, how you connect with that to keep you pushing forward even when you face challenges?
Yeah, I suppose the reason why I do it, first off, as you kind of said there, is because I love it. And I love social media, everything about social media, but in particular Twitter. That's always been my favorite, and it's kind of where I first started off in terms of building my following and stuff. But how it started, I'm 5.5 years in business for myself. And how that started was, I had worked prior to that for about 14 years with charity Oxfam.
Wow.
And so I was there for a long time, and I was involved in media, communications, branding, marketing. So I've always had that kind of background. But it became 24/7, as a lot of jobs do at the moment. And I burnt out and I needed a break. So I took a career break, not having a clue what I was going to do or anything like that. which isn't kind of like me. It is more so nowadays, but back then it wouldn't have been, you know. So I took a career break and decided to have a think about what I was going to do. And during that time, I just started using Twitter and social media for me rather than for work. So that's how I started building up myself and my brand and just be. And then when you're just yourself, you can say and do what you want, you know. And I just put out, I'm very positive and upbeat, and that's just me. So that came across, and it seemed to resonate with people, and the followers just started coming more and more, and opportunities started coming more and more. And then one day, a friend of mine said to me, "If only you could get paid to tweet, wouldn't it be fantastic?" And this is when I was trying to think, what am I going to do next? And that kind of set the seed. And then I met with a few friends and business people who were all saying, absolutely do it. And there is a need for it type of thing, you know. There's a need for people to run accounts for people. So a friend of mine that I'd met just on Twitter during that time, she asked me to run her Facebook and her Twitter for her business. It was a food and wine company. And so that was my trial run. I kind of gave that a go. And I just loved it. It was just me behind the accounts and stuff. And I really enjoyed it and said, right, I'm definitely going to give this a go. But I did kind of think, you know, I might get a year out of it or something like that and give it a go, because there was no big business plan. So I just set up the website, you know, yourself, got the business card, got the accountant. I was actually really surprised how easy it was to set up a business. Now, the struggle is keeping it going.
Oh, the struggle is real.
The struggle is real. But I was really surprised at how easy it was just to start your own business. And when of course, nowadays I think I read recently there's something like, was it 23,000 new businesses in Ireland over the last few years or something like that, which I'd well believe, small businesses, because it is easy enough to get started. And so then I started getting a few other accounts, different kind of accounts. And people that came to me to run their accounts were usually companies and businesses and celebrities and things like that, that resonated or had a similar vibe to me. So they were quite positive and they were fun and they were upbeat.
Same values, effectively, isn't it, really, you know?
Yeah, because you're bringing your own personality to these accounts. So, you know, if it's somebody, like, not picking on accountants or anything, but if an accountant comes to me, there's nothing I can do for them in terms of getting them reach online. So I just say no to accounts to them. I pass them on to colleagues that I know in the business. And so over the years, it tends to be people like that have similar personalities, similar brands that are upbeat and fun. So I fit in well with that. And then sometimes people know it's me behind the counter, sometimes they don't, and that's up to the client themselves, you know. But I've been rambling on, so I've actually forgot your original question.
No, it's interesting. As I was listening to you there, because I was hooked on your words there, because a lot of what you said really resonates with me. How easy it is to get a business going, but how hard it is to maintain it effectively. And, you know, I'm probably one of those people who's at that. I know you're longer in business than me. You're 5.5 years, as you say, and congratulations to you on that. You know, I'm pretty much nearly just hitting the 2-year mark. I won't hit the 2-year mark till February. So
congratulations to you.
Thank you. So then the struggle is to get your business over the 2-year mark and build the, I suppose, emotional resilience as well to do that. And just in what you're saying there, you know, I heard you say, you know, when you be yourself and you have your own business and you be yourself in your business, it's a lot easier to say how you feel and what you want to connect with your audience. And it's interesting. I love to hear you say that, because I remember initially when I went into business, one of my reasons was that, so I could be my own voice and say what I wanted and connect with the people who shared, as we spoke about, they're the same values as me. And that's working, and that is working now eventually, as I said, but it takes time and it'll take longer again to build bigger. But interesting enough, I remember when I started my business, and you know, the way we receive so much conflicting advice off people, and I'm well-intentioned as well, don't get me wrong, but it can seem like, you know, one person's in this year, another person's in this year here, and really we have to listen to our head and heart on it, because I was told, oh God, you're a new business owner now, you're not going to be able to have an opinion on anything, because if you do have an opinion, you'll alienate people. And I'm like, I'm not sure that's a bad thing at all, to be quite honest with you, because I'm like, that's the whole reason I went into business, to have my own voice. And I really don't care, and I don't mean that in a bad way, about the people who don't get me, because they don't pay me at the end of the day, and they
Yes.
don't do great work with me, and I don't do great work with them. So I think as business owners, whether they are 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or 50 years in business, fair play to them, that's a pivotal piece, I think, to actually maintaining it. So it's good to hear you kind of, the two of us kind of connect on that.
Absolutely. And I think it's RuPaul who says, unless they're paying your bills, pay them no mind. And I agree with you completely. I never think twice about whether this might upset somebody or not upset somebody. I'm just me online type of thing, and people can take it or leave it. And the people that come to me that want me to work with them, I always get on very well with them because they're like-minded people. So obviously there's some people out there that I don't fit their bill, but that's fine because I wouldn't want to work with their brand and stuff anyway, type of thing. So that work. But yeah, the key is you have to be yourself. As the famous saying goes, be yourself, everybody else is already taken. And it's so true.
Yeah, I love it because, as I said, I think initially as a new business owner myself, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, and I'm sure you will as well, we can kind of bend and sway in so many different directions and try to be everything to everyone. And that's when our values start getting conflicted. And I know I certainly did that in my first year in business, and I kind of got a bit lost. The only thing I would say, I was lucky that people kind of did still get me, but they were a bit lost about what it was exactly I was doing. But I have thankfully reined that back in. But I think reconnecting with my why in my business, as you say, you just spoke of it there, why you do it, you love it, and you love the people that you work with. And I'm the same myself. Just interesting because obviously, as I said, you have a lot more experience than me in business, and again, credit to you on that. What have been the challenges you faced even getting your business kind of through different phases, first year, second year, fourth year? Is there anything in particular that really stood out, and how could you give us some advice on overcoming that maybe?
Yeah, I think the main thing for me, Pauline, is I couldn't do what I'm doing unless I have a partner who has a regular, proper, as I call it, full-time job that's it doesn't work for himself. He's a chef, so that kind of allows me that freedom to take more chances in a sense. I really admire people who do it on their own, even more so because they don't have that backup type of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I used to panic in the first year or two, because the very nature of what I do, it dips and flows like that. You could be really busy for a few months, and then you could get a month where it's quiet. And the first time that happened, I panicked, and I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to get a client again. This was the biggest mistake ever, type of thing. My partner's less dramatic and always calms me down and tells me, something, of course, is going to come along. And something, of course, did. 2 more phone calls came in later the next day, and then you were off again. But the first few times that happens, as a new business, and your first and second year in particular, it's really hard not to panic and think, oh my God, did I do the right thing? But once you get over that, and more work comes in, and you're grand again. And then, by year 3, 4, when you get a few dips again, you realize, wait, now this happened before. It's fine. There's no need to panic. It'll pick up again. And it always, so far, touch wood, it always has, type of thing. Now, I do need a reminder from my partner every now and then to tell me, that this happened before. You'll be fine. Don't worry. So it's great that he's more down to earth and a bit level-headed. I'm prone to dramatics a little myself. So, you do need to have either a partner or a business colleague or a really good friend. That can kind of give you that push and that confidence you need sometimes, because that your confidence can get affected when you get a dip as well, and you kind of think, oh, am I really good, or am I any good at that? And so you kind of, you're your own worst memory. I find that with everyone I talk to, that you start, all the little voices in your head to say, oh, you're not very good at this, that's why you're not getting any work at the moment, or whatever. And then you get busy again and you forget all that, and then it comes back.
Nobody likes me, nobody wants to work with me.
So that's always the key advice I give to anyone that might be just starting out or in year 1 or whatever. It's just to make sure you keep going during those dips, and to kind of embrace the quiet times. Now I do, I embrace the quiet times now. I just do other things, writing and different things like that. and then it gets busy again, and you're off again. And I've seen a pattern. There's certain times of the year that are quieter and busier and things like that. So as years go on, you start seeing those patterns as well. But in the beginning, it's too early to have a pattern yet. So
I really think I could so relate. I think to find the pattern and to find the flow, I say it takes at least 3 years, and I'm ready to give myself that space again. Because like yourself, as you say there, I'd like speaking to my own business mentor recently. It was kind of like, well, Pauline, like you've got to put another 18 months on it, track and measure, and give yourself an idea. Because really for me, it's only in the last kind of 6 months that there's more momentum building. And again, as we spoke about that earlier, that's very much so down to having my own opinion in life and business and putting it out there, and letting go of that fear of what people think. But yeah, I think, as you say there, and again, something I can totally relate to, that the backup support is huge. And your partner, who's so supportive as well, can kind of kick you out of those downward spirals. Again, I'm lucky to have somebody here who's also like in a full-time job and can support it and get me out of those dips. And because I go into dips as saying, I have this tendency, and our words are so important, aren't they, in life and business. But when you set up a business, like I had this tendency to go into a downward spiral where I'd be going, my business is failing. And it was really, really, it was crap to keep saying it, because I was like, my partner, like, well, my husband, like that, turned around to me and was like, your business isn't failing. It's just the right people haven't seen it yet or connected with it. Or
that's wonderful. That's wonderful advice.
He's like, it's not the business. The business isn't failing, because, and then I'm like, you're so right. Like, because even though our businesses are our babies and we can be very emotionally attached to them, sometimes other people just coming in and dragging us out of them with that perspective is so valuable. So having a supportive, partner, husband, wife, mentor, whatever it is around you, somebody who can emotionally detach, who isn't emotionally attached to the building and to building the business in that sense, is very, very important. But I just noticed our words again, me saying my business is failing. Like, it's not like I was, my company was like on the ground and it owed people loads of money and I had employees and I was like blowing it out of proportion, because like that I was in dips. And I really, really get what you're saying, like the whole kind of monitoring that, measuring what's happening, and banking the successes to take us out of those dips is really, really important, Yeah, interesting to hear. What are your plans now, being 5 years in business? Like, I mean, you're nearly 5.5, probably you're nearer to 6 years.
It's 5.5. It'll be 6 next summer.
Right. Okay. So, any plans going forward? Don't share too much now. Obviously, keep.
Well, it's a really good question, Pauline, because it kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier as well. After a few years, you start to realize, is this where you want to be with your business? Are you happy to maintain that, or do you want it to grow to another level, or 3 or 4 more levels? And if you do, what are those levels? So after a while, you realize what it is you want and don't want yourself. And with me personally, I'm really happy just as I am and what I'm doing, type of thing. Now, I like to add new things all the time. And another piece of advice I always give to people is just be open to everything. Like, so as well as the core business, I write for Self Starter magazine. I do book reviews for them. I'm obsessed with books as well. And as a result, I end up doing an awful lot of work with authors. And then I do, I have to be on radio from time to time. I love Strictly Come Dancing. So every Monday I'm on Dublin Q102 talking about the previous weekends.
Oh, brilliant.
Strictly. So those two things really don't have anything to do with my core business, but they end up bringing in business in a roundabout kind of way, because people just hear you on the airwaves, or they read about you in terms of books. So I suppose the point I'm making, often something mightn't seem that it's relevant to your business, but actually it is. It just keeps your name out there, and another aspect of what you do, because it's all about keeping yourself prominent and out there when you work for yourself, kind of thing. So But going forward, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to stay as I am. Obviously, I want new clients and exciting clients. That's always the challenge. And I'm looking for a new client for Twitter and Instagram for the new year. Someone to really get my teeth into. And often I just start putting feelers out like that, and they end up kind of coming back type of thing, you know. So yeah, I'm looking for just some new exciting accounts to work on, doing more consultations with people. I mean, this year has been great. As well as business people, there's been authors and celebrities, and I worked with former Eurovision winner Niamh Kavanagh. I mean, I love doing that. She wants to do consultation on improving her social media.
Yeah.
So, you know, I really runs the gamut from all types of different people type of thing that come to me. So I would just hope that I continue to get more people like that.
I was just going to say to you, sorry, I am just putting a candle out there on my table in front of me because it's like a glass Kilner one. I thought it was going to blow up. I thought it was going to be.
I heard something there. Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, that would be interesting. But I was just going to say to you there, yeah, in particular, any type of creatives or industries that you work with that it seem to be prominent that come to you, or is it very varied?
It's very varied, but I do primarily get an awful lot of authors working with me, and I love working with authors because there's a huge amount of authors that actually run their social media very poorly. I don't know what that is about, but it's great for me, and I love working with authors, and they're easy to work with. So they are primarily the people that come to me. But then there's a lot of well-known people and people that I've worked with that they don't want to know they've got help, and that's fine as well, type of thing. You know, they do a consultation privately, and then they go off.
Yeah, I so get that actually. I see a lot of that. Like obviously in my work as well, like there's a lot of people that would, you know, they're very private about what they do. And I think as well, like there's a certain element in some people as well when they don't want people to know they're asking for help. And that's just humanness, isn't it? And like, you know, that's totally fine. But yeah, so very broad and diverse.
And even at the moment, like I have gift vouchers for my one-on-one consultation. So for Christmas, so as I've been putting on Twitter over the last few weeks and things, is that you know, if you want to give someone a gift of a social media consultation, they can. So that's ideal for somebody that just might need help online, or you know they're on there already, but you know they need a booster. It's not working well for them, and often people are on there and they're doing okay, and they just need some more kind of hints and tips, and that's what I give, proven hints and tips from over the years that I know works. And I just give people things like, you know, best times to do stuff, how to use hashtags better. So an awful lot of stuff that's just you can read in books and everything, but you kind of often just need a demonstration of the type of thing, you know. But for going forward, yeah, I just hope for more of the same. But it is really important to keep your name out there, because when I would have started 5 years ago, I can remember there was maybe 2 other people that did similar to what I do, and nowadays I know of at least 20, 30 people doing similar to what I do type of thing. So the field has grown wider. But I do think there's work there for everyone type of thing.
I think I'm of that impression as well. I think if you're consistent with it and you show up consistently and use your own voice, there is work for everybody. It's the same at my industry. Obviously, I'm in the professional training and coaching industry, executive coaching, career coaching. Like it's a saturated market. Like it's super saturated. In fact, my market. But the feedback I get is I'm one of the most prolific coaches out there because of my voice. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm one of the most successful or my business is at the level that I want, but I know it's getting there. So I think you're right in that sense, just being ourselves and doing what we have.
But I so agree with you there, Pauline, absolutely. An awful lot of people say to me, and I get it all the time, is when I'd meet somebody for the first time with them, and say, "Oh, you're Paul. I know you from Twitter, or I know you from Instagram, or whatever. You're everywhere." And I always get that comment of, "You're everywhere, and you're doing so well, and everything." And yeah, while it's true that I'm everywhere and I might be prolific like that type of thing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the work is continuously coming in type of thing.
Yeah, I think that's something that can be quite
marketing and branding myself, you know.
Yeah, and likewise, and I think that's something that people can be a bit delusional about in business as well, like where they see, oh, like you're everywhere. You must, and you've your own business. Oh my God, you must be raking it in. You're doing great or whatever. But what people don't see is the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. And
Yes,
even as you say, like the quiet times, you know, when the times are quiet, like, and you're waiting to get new clients, you do a lot of work on yourself then, and you do other things to keep, to build momentum and keep going. And I think that's really, really
yes.
important in relation to the consistency part, you know. Just wanted to ask you, just being the Twitter expert, and I know you do it. Do you do a fair bit on Instagram as well? Do you, or?
I do. I work across all the channels, really. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's with every client. Some clients want you to do Facebook and Twitter. Others want you to do LinkedIn and Twitter. It really depends on the client and what they're after. A big mistake a lot of people do is when they're busy and don't have time is they put their business on every channel and then they don't have time to do any of them. And there's
This is
nothing
what I
worse.
was going to ask you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was going
there's
to ask you
nothing
what would
worse.
be a tip.
That'd be a key tip because there's nothing worse when you look up a business on Twitter and their account is there and they haven't tweeted in 6 months or a year type of thing.
Yeah.
Because you'll just go to the competitor who's tweeted yesterday and you go to them for your business type of thing. So I often say you're actually better off to have no account rather than an account that's just sitting there and not being used type of thing.
That's interesting. Yeah. Because
So
I've kind of honed in on that over the past kind of year myself. So I'm not on all the platforms. I was Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then I kind of honed in on my message and where I needed to be and where
yes.
my voice was heard better. And for me, that's kind of LinkedIn. Now, I do a bit on Twitter. I am consistent enough on Twitter, but I wouldn't be as actively engaged, but I still post regularly. So I let go of my Instagram and my Facebook.
Right.
Because like that, you know, as you say, if you're on all the channels and people are just, you know, not getting it, you're wasting your own time and energy.
Yeah.
Plus, like, you're sacrificing getting the leads in the right places, you know. So yeah, it's
Well,
interesting.
that's brilliant. That's brilliant what you did. You obviously saw that those two channels weren't working for you, and to concentrate your time, just get rid of them. And you can always go back to them. It's not like they're gone forever. You can go back to them another time if you so wish. But for now, you can focus in on the channels that work for you and put your time and energy into. And it's great. You're not feeling as swamped then, oh my God, I have to get all this stuff done everywhere, because you've just focused down on a few key
Because
channels.
again, new business owners in general, like, it can be very overwhelming and very mentally taxing and exhausting, and can really lead to spirals of, I know in my case, being overwhelmed and getting demotivated because I was trying to stretch everywhere, and then, you know, Facebook, I wasn't getting people off Facebook and stuff, you know. But look, we move on and we get on with it and find where we work best, as they say. Just as well, I wanted to ask you, because I was curious, and I'm taking you back a bit to something you said earlier.
That's okay.
Just your books that you're interested in. Could you give us a book recommendation? I'm always looking for book recommendations. Now, I don't mind whether it's a business book or any type of book or fiction or whatever. Just
well, fiction and thrillers, or as I call them, knicker grippers, are my absolute favorite genre. And just generally books that are good stories. And I really hate this term chick lit as well, because to me, I read a lot of books that are primarily supposed to be for the female market. But to me, I just like a good story and a good book. And it doesn't matter to me who it's been, you know, driven to. And at the moment, I'm reading Apple of Her Eye by Claire Allen. And it's her second thriller. Now, she's done about, I think, maybe a dozen books, but this is her second thriller in a row. And it's coming out. Yeah, it's coming out in January. And I'm only in about quarter way in, but it's already brilliant. And it's already like a really good page turner, and you just dive straight in, and it's really, really good. So I definitely recommend giving that one a Google.
Anything on the business side?
On the business side, I haven't. At this time of year, I kind of tend to like reading fiction books and different books like that. I haven't really read a good business book now in a while. So if there's anybody watching and there's ones out there, send them my way or recommend them, because I do review them then as well. A good one I've got recently was, it's a positivity planner.
Okay.
And it's from Coach Karen. I can't think of her surname at the moment, but she's a positivity coach and she's online. And it's a really good planner for businesses, for everybody really, for next year. And you just, it's you know, you have to work at it. You have to fill in different things and set goals and things like that.
Like a vision board for your business.
Yeah, but in a book form type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of handy like that, you know. So So that's a good one. That's definitely worth
Brilliant,
checking out as well.
brilliant, brilliant. Listen, can you tell us again where to find you just in detail? But do you have a website as well, Paul, or?
I do indeed have a web page. I call it really more so than a website, because I find nowadays, depending on what your business, people want to know about you really quickly and instantly. So everything about me is on one page, and it's pauldunphyesquire.com.
Brilliant.
That's where you find me, and all my different channels are there, and you'll find me there. And you know, if you're looking for me quickly, you'll always find me on Twitter at Paul Dunphy. And I'm across all the channels. But pauldunphyesquire.com is the webpage where
I
all my
seen a video or saw, I'd be called out for my grammar, on Twitter that you did a while ago, and it was brilliant. Again, you were building your momentum for Christmas and the New Year, and you said hire the Esquire. Was it? Was
yeah, hire the Squire. I cut off.
Squire.
Yeah, because no, that's fine. A lot of people. It was the author Marion Keyes started it first. She started calling me the Squire on Twitter. After a few years of being the Esquire, she just cut it down as a nickname to the Squire. So that's kind of cotton on now as well. So then it was just hashtag hire the Squire type of thing.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
So
I use that
if you want to hire the Squire,
yes,
we know where to find you. Listen, Paul, it's been brilliant talking to you.
Lovely talking to you, Pauline.
Yeah, so got everything you say there, and I'm sure many people will as well. And indeed, people who are starting out in business, some great tips there. And just most importantly, as we say, remembering that we're all human, and to connect with the humans we want to work with. Paul, keep in touch.
If anyone ever has any queries or anything around social media, they can get in touch with me. They don't have to just get in touch if it's just work related. If they're unsure or they want to check something, just contact me. That's absolutely fine, you know.
Brilliant. You're very helpful. Listen, pleasure as always talking to you. Keep in touch, and continued success in all you do in life and business. Talk soon.
Thank you, Pauline, and to you. Thank you.
Take care, Paul. Bye.